Boy, oh boy, it is someone else that had something crazy to say about LeBron James. I'll tell you about it in the jab right after the bumper. What is good people? I am Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Black Boss channel and Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload every single day. Now, we know the jab is like the #1 topic in the world, especially among Americans, especially in reference to Black Americans. And one of the greatest platforms that America gives are to some of the biggest stars of sports and entertainment. And one of those big stars is LeBron James. So a guy that plays in the NBA by the name of Enes Kanter went on several publications, but most notably CNN, to talk about how LeBron James should be more of an advocate of the jab. And he says it's ridiculous that LeBron James isn't a big advocate of the jab, seeing that LeBron James himself did get the jab. Now, let me give you some context. Let's put all of this into context. Come in with me, take a seat, let's relax, let's talk about it. Okay, so this starts, honestly, with some of the NBA players who have decided to go against getting the jab. As most notably, Kyrie Irving, and as of recently, until recently, Andrew Wiggins was against it. Andrew Wiggins did recently get his jab, so he's good to go. He will not miss any games as of now, not due to the jab, because he plays in San Francisco. There are cities, San Francisco and New York, that will not allow their NBA players to play indoors in said cities unless they have the jab. So, Kyrie Irving plays for the Brooklyn Nets, players for the New York Knicks, and players for the Golden State Warriors all must get the jab to play in their home games. If they do not, they will not be permitted to play in said home games, and they will miss their game checks. So if you can't play, you don't get paid. And if you don't play and you don't get paid, you kind of hurt the team, especially when you're a guy of Kyrie Irving's caliber. So, because as I mentioned, the Warriors were one of those teams that you had to get the jab to play. Draymond Green plays for the Warriors. Draymond Green got his jab. Draymond Green was at the podium talking about, getting the jab and whether he would be, this was before Wiggins got his, whether he would be convincing Wiggins and or any teammate to get their shot, right? And Draymond went up to the podium and said, "Now I got mine. And I did what was best for me and my family, and for, all the intents and purposes, I did my research. I talked to my doctors or whatever. I was good to go. But I am not here to convince another grown man, i.e. Wiggins or any other grown man, Kyrie Irving, Wiggins, whoever, Bradley Beal, whoever, to get it. Like, that's their decision. I made the decision that was best for me. I made the decision that was best for my family, and I decided to get it. And I won't miss any games because of it, right? If whoever, I'm just giving you this, the synopsis of what he said. And he was like, yeah, that's what they should do. You should do what's best for you. And, so be it. We'll deal with it, whatever. And so that clip gets posted on social media. And LeBron James essentially says, I agree with this clip. Grown men should make grown men decisions. If you make a decision that's detrimental to yourself, detrimental to your own health, detrimental to your team, that's your decision to make. Now, the consequences or repercussions that come from said decision are on you, but you can't say anybody forced you. You can't say anybody coerced you. You can't say any of these things. That's what LeBron's stance is. He's like, yeah, I got my shot. I got my jab. You get yours if you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, so what? Okay, it is what it is. If you have to miss games, hey, so be it. If you don't get paid, that's the risk you're taking. That's it. That's all LeBron said. He said basically what the antithesis of America is supposed to be. A free country, right? It's a free country. These are grown men millionaires. Make your own decision. So Enes Kanter, who is not black, Enes Kanter, who I want to say is from Turkey, went on, like I said, several publications to show his dissatisfaction of LeBron James's grown men are grown men and should be free to make their own decision. Enes Kanter didn't like that. I am going to play for you. I'm not going to show you because it was on CNN, but I'm going to play for you the audio of Enes Kanter and what he had to say about LeBron James. and then we'll talk about it. This clip is about a minute long. It is Enes Kanter talking to some lady on CNN. Here's what he had to say.
LeBron James finally revealed just recently that he is vaccinated, but he declined to call on others to do the same. Do you think players like LeBron James, who were so high profile, so looked up to, have a responsibility to protect not only his fellow players, but also the black community, when we know the black community has been disproportionately impacted by this virus, by COVID?
When I heard it, I was very disappointed, and it's ridiculous. Obviously LeBron James, he's one of the face of the league, and he should be the first one to go out there and say, listen, everyone, I got the vaccine, and I'm encouraging everyone, my community, everyone, basketball fans, non-basketball fans, all the sport fans are just going out there to get this vaccine so we can save other lives. So when I heard that, I just couldn't believe it. But I hope he can educate himself about this vaccination and inspire and encourage other people around him.
All right. So there's so many things wrong with what just took place, but let's start with the basics. I love how these major platforms, CNN, Fox, ABC, CBS, NBC, the mainstream media, as we call them sometimes, loves to ask non-black people, non-FBA, non-foundational black people, non-African descendants of slaves, non-blacks about black issues, as they would call it. She sets up the question, the lady, I don't know her name, she sets up the question as, should LeBron James, who is like the biggest basketball, most known, most notoriety, the biggest basketball player in the world, active as of now, does he have a responsibility? Because this virus is affecting black people at a disproportionate rate, right? So she sets it up like that. So she kind of set bro up, because obviously he's gonna react. If he's someone that's pro shot or pro jab, he's gonna react to absolutely he should. But so that was the first thing. The setup was totally wrong, because you're asking a non-black person about black issues, so to say. So that was the first issue. I ain't really with that, right? Then what was also just straight off the top, without diving into the notes, any research, he makes it seem like it's your responsibility. No, the hell it's not. LeBron James is not a doctor. LeBron James is not a medical professional. LeBron James didn't even go to college. He's well educated. He's very smart. He didn't go to college. He don't have no PhD, no DR, no MD in front of or behind his name. At the end of the day, he is a very, very talented basketball player, a very, very smart black man, and a great businessman. But none of that stands for medical professional. I am not going to LeBron James for my medical advice. Absolutely, positively, no way. Not at all. LeBron James doesn't study medicine. So he does not have a responsibility at all. What he does, what's really good for him to do, is to encourage people to use their own brain. And that's what he's saying. He said, do what's best for you and your family. I did what's best for me and mine. The Jameses, we did what was best for the James family. And that means, if that means not missing any checks from the Lakers and not missing any games and getting a jab, that's what's best for me. You do what's best for you. Enes Kanter, you do what's best for you. Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, Bradley Beal, Kyrie Irving, or whoever. But then what's so disappointing about this too, about this whole jab controversy and all this stuff, and especially because LeBron James has a huge platform. We know, LeBron probably has 50 million people. Instagram's down right now, so I don't know how many I can't look it up. He has a bunch of Instagram followers. I'm sure he has a bunch of Twitter followers, and he's like one of the most 50 million on Twitter, so he has more than that on Instagram, probably 80 million on Instagram. And so they want him to go out at his wide-reaching audience and say what they want him to say, right? Go do this, go do that, get your jab, whatever. And the fact that he's not doing that upset some people. So now we got to send people to attack you. Now we got to send people to call you out. Now we got to send people to get you back in line. But LeBron James, ain't no getting him back in line. He does what he wants. But what's even worse about this is because LeBron James is one of the most notable black, African American, or whatever you want to call them, athletes. Because 90% of the NBA is vaccinated. Like let's take this into account. 90% of the NBA is vaccinated. And that number grows every day. So 9 out of every 10 NBA players has the shot. They have the vax. They have the jab. Oh, I said the word too many times, so hopefully they don't take us down. But they have the jab. 90%. We're talking about a few players that have come out and spoke out against it. Not even spoke out against it. A few players that said, I'm good. Bradley Beal said, I'm at camp. I got the virus. I developed the antibodies. I'm late 20s, early 30s, professional athlete. Well, Bradley Beal's in his late 20s, rather. He said, I'm in my late 20s. I'm a professional athlete. I got it, so I developed the antibodies. I think I'm okay without getting a jab. I think I'm okay without getting it. Well, Bradley, you know you can still pass it. You can still spread it. Well, if you get the jab, you can still catch it, just like I could still catch it. If you get the jab, you can still spread it, just like I can still spread it. But the jab stops you, the study, the research. This is what Bradley Beal said. He said the research says it prevents serious hospitalizations. That is the benefit to it. Okay. Well, I'm a 20-something-year-old professional athlete, so that means I don't have a lot of those pre-existing health conditions that's taking a lot of people out. I think I'm okay. Like it's all he said. He said, I think I could do without it. That doesn't mean I'm telling you not to do without it. I just think I'm okay. You do what's best for you. But Enes Kanter and this lady from CNN and all these different news stations or whatever are trying to make it seem like if you don't get the jab, you're putting everyone at risk. Well, no, because even with the jab, you can still get it and you can still spread it. Right? Like, somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. Like, please. I promise you, that is my Instagram right now, JLightsy7. DM me right now if that is incorrect. If that is incorrect. And what's so interesting, like I said, 90% of the NBA is 90% of the NBA got the jab. There's literally only 10%. 1 out of every 10 NBA players got it. All the coaches have to get it. It's a mandate. All the coaches, basically anybody that works for the organization has to get it, or you're fired. And then the players have the options. Players are literally the only ones with the options. And 90%, 9 out of every 10 have it out of the players. But what's so interesting is that LeBron James, the big, strong black athlete, has to be the one that has the responsibility. But in all these other sports, now I get it, basketball's played indoors. They're the only sport, high-level professional sport that's played indoors, right? Football's played outside, baseball's played outside, hockey's played indoors. Well, hockey's played indoors. I guess that's a professional sport that's played indoors. So 2 out of the major sports are played indoors. But nobody is saying Tom Brady has a responsibility to tell people to get the jab or not. I don't know Tom Brady's stance on the jab. But nobody's telling him, hey, Tom, you have a responsibility to tell everybody in America to get the jab, right? Based off what I've known about Tom Brady, I don't know whether he has it or not. He probably does because he's all about winning. But nobody put it like they're trying to put guns to LeBron's head and tell him he has a responsibility. He is forced to do it. No, he's not. Nobody told Tom Brady to do that. Nobody's told the biggest baseball star, Mike Trout or whoever, to do that. Hell, nobody's told the international stars, the Ronaldos, the Messis, the whoever, the Neymars, the David Beckhams or whoever. You have a responsibility to tell your people to get the jab. The only professional athlete, multiple, plural, are the black ones. Are the black ones they're telling? LeBron James, you have the responsibility because you have a big platform. Well, Ronaldo has about 100 million more followers than LeBron James, and nobody's forcing him to do it. Messi the same, probably 80 million more than LeBron James. But LeBron's the big, strong black athlete. And he has the responsibility. He bears the weight of the world on his shoulders. Although 90% of his league has got the jab. Come on, man. We got to get better tactics than this. I know LeBron James and bringing up his name pays a lot of the bills for a lot of people, especially on like ESPN and Fox Sports. But this, first of all, LeBron didn't even make the statement. I'm going to read to you LeBron James' exact tweet about, this is literally his only thing he's ever put out about the jab. Listen to this. It's a tweet that has 10 words. I summarized to you what Draymond said, and this was LeBron. Couldn't have said it any better at Money Green 23. Draymond gave his statement about the jab, about everything that's taking place, and LeBron James, all he said was, couldn't have said it better, said it any better at Money Green 23. That's lit. That's literally it. In every headline, everybody bringing on Enes freaking Kanter to talk about LeBron James. Come on, man. Come on. Like, the power structure is at hand, and it's working overtime. It's working overtime to get these NBA guys. Starting with LeBron James, ending with Kyrie Irving. I am super interested to see how long Kyrie Irving is going to hold out. I'm really interested to see if he is willing to put, because the numbers came out today. Kyrie Irving, who we all kind of pretty much know doesn't have the jab. Kyrie Irving is scheduled to miss, if he misses games for the Brooklyn Nets, because he can't play in home games because he doesn't have the jab, is scheduled to miss out on $381,000 every game that he misses for Brooklyn this season. It's 41 games. I'm willing to see how long Kyrie. Right now, the Brooklyn Nets are practicing in San Diego, essentially because Kyrie can't practice in New York City. That's essentially the reason why Brooklyn is out in San Diego practicing, holding training camp in San Diego and not in New York City, because their second or third best player, the piece that kind of puts them over as the overwhelming favorite, can't practice indoors in New York City. So I am very, very much so interested to see how long Kyrie holds this out and whether there's any resentment from his teammates for the fact that he doesn't have the jab and the fact that he could potentially miss games and the fact that he can't practice with the team as of now in New York City. Hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. That is going to be very, very much so interesting to see how that plays out. But for guys like Enes Kanter or CNN or Fox or whoever trying to bully people like LeBron James with these mega platforms to force this, their narrative or whatever, you can kick rocks, man. Enes Kanter can kick rocks. LeBron James doesn't have a responsibility. He only has a responsibility to the James family. That's it. He has to look out for the best, and it's lovely to look out for the best interest of black people. And he seems to do that most of the time. LeBron James is a very, very smart man, and he seems to do that way more than most other people of his stature. Black people in power of his stature, LeBron seems to look out for the black man and black people way more than any others. Hell, he put his whole team on. He put his old friends on. He made them mega millionaires. So saying you have a responsibility to promote this jab that we're finding out about it daily. Like, we're finding new stuff out about it daily. And now they're adding boosters. Come on, man. Nah. Enes Kanter can kick rocks. And I'm with LeBron. I'm with Draymond. I'm with all these guys that's not anti nothing or pro nothing. They just tell you what they did. And they're saying grown men should be allowed to make grown men decisions. That's it. Hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. Once again, I'm Jeff Lightsy Jr. with the Black Boss Channel and Victory Formation. For my Facebook folks, if you're able to get on Facebook, I know it was down for a while. It's Jeff Lightsy Sports. And for those of you who want to follow me on Twitter, we have conversations like this all the time at JLightsy7 on Twitter. That is at JLightsy7 on Twitter. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Peace.